Hey, nerdy sports fan here. We're getting into the AFC South now for postseason. Essentially, what these teams should be focused on, what they need to address, and man, there's a lot of action that's got to go down in the AFC South. We're going to start things off with the Colts. So, QB. It's really the big question, the only question that matters. Do you want to continue with Jacoby Brissett? Do you want to go forward with one of the pretty good free agent options that are out there? Or do you want to draft for the future at this position? Personally, I think with where they're drafting, it's smart to address this position via free agency. I think they need to go like gangbusters to get Bridgewater. The Saints are not likely to keep him. They're investing in Taysom Hill as if he's the future. That doesn't necessarily make sense to me, especially considering that Bridgewater is the man who carried the load when Breeze was injured this past season. Maybe that's because he's had experience and Taysom Hill hasn't really in being the man, but it's fishy to me. I don't really buy that they're willing to hand the keys over to Taysom Hill. I don't. But it doesn't seem like they're willing to hand the keys over to Bridgewater. So they're going to let him walk. I think it's a bad decision, but it could be a decision that benefits the Colts greatly. Picture a quarterback who knows how to play the position from the pocket extremely well, behind a line that can really keep a pocket together very well. I appreciate Brissett. I really do. He reminds me in many ways of Tyrod Taylor, but not as mobile. Okay? Tyrod's arm, what he was able to do from behind the line of scrimmage, was really limited to keep it mistake-free. And that's great. Okay? That's a wonderful quality to have as a quarterback, not making mistakes. You're not giving the other team the opportunity to take it away from you. Great. What are you doing to ramp up the score, though? Because that's, a huge part of the job of the quarterback. And I don't see that in Brissett. He's got the locker room on his side. He's seemingly a good leader to these guys. But he doesn't have that over-the-top carry the team to a win factor to him. And in today's NFL, you need a good amount of that. It doesn't matter how good the rest of the team is built. The Colts are proving that. They've got the best offensive line in the league today. They have a very stout defense. They have skill position players that have proven to be very good in this league. It's the quarterback that's holding them back. It's not that he's, throwing the game away. He isn't. He's just not excelling at what he does. So I think Bridgewater would be an amazing upgrade at this position. And instantly put the Colts in conversation for winning this division again. So, do they pull the trigger? Where do they want to address this position? How do they want to address this position? Does Irsay really want Brissett going forward? That's a possibility. But personally, I think they need to upgrade, and I think that Bridgewater is the perfect match for them. So, beyond that, there are some questions. Not a lot, but there are some that do still matter. Now, they have $81 million in cap space. Are they actually going to spend it this time? So, last offseason, they didn't. Why? That's a big question. Why did they not spend their cap space as much as they could have? Is it because that they knew that Luck was going to be retiring? That's a possibility. A lot of times, players will keep things as close to the vest as possible, as long as possible, for the sake of the team if requested. And Luck strikes me as that kind of guy. It's been rumored that he was holding tight this information until he knew that it was going to be released by another source. And that's why he came out with it before the game. He wanted the fans to hear it from him. I can respect that. But that's only a rumor. That's not confirmed. Do they spend this money is really what it comes back to. They didn't last off season. They had Luck last off season. He retires. They have this money again. They need to replace Luck. There's some other positions that need to be addressed, sure. But is this what they were planning on for that money? Is this why they didn't spend it last off season? They didn't want to have dead money on the books? Possibly. I like to think that they're a well-run organization in Indianapolis, so I'm leaning towards that's the realm of why the money wasn't spent in the first place. So are they going to address some of the other needs that they have as well? Because they can. So their offensive and defensive identities are already set. They're already pretty stout, really, across the board. Personally, I think that they just need to develop depth. Now, very successful teams, long-term success, the Patriots is a great example for this. They create depth. They create multiplicity in their offense and in their defense. And they do this in order to stay relevant. Okay? Are you strong at linebacker? Sure. Absolutely. Nobody's going to deny that. Are you strong at offensive line? Absolutely. Nobody will deny that. Those things identify your team. Creating depth at those same positions to maintain that strength is a wise thing to do. So a lot of teams do this on the defensive front very well. So the Bills, the Eagles over the years, the Panthers over the years, the Chicago Bears up until last season, creating defensive line rotational depth in order to keep fresh legs on the field to really take it to somebody towards the end of the game. Now, if, this is a big if now, we assume that they're going to address the quarterback with Bridgewater. You have what you need on offense. You have the line, you have the skill positions on the outside, and you have the running back. So what do you want to do to tweak your defense in order to create long-term success, multiple different ways that you can win the game, and a stronger playoff push for this team? Personally, I think creating that rotational depth on the defensive line would be the wisest thing you can possibly do. Now, there's a lot of defensive linemen that are available in free agency. You took advantage of that last year with Houston, so why not dip your toe back in that pond? A few guys that are going to be available but not necessarily going to break the bank, like, say, Armstead out of the 49ers, will create some rotational depth because that's what he was used to in his previous scheme, and help you with that rotational depth. It doesn't have to be a lights out guy that's going to dominate the front all by his lonesome and start 90% of the snaps. That's not what you're looking for here. What you're looking for is a guy that when you put him out there and he's ready to go full speed and full strength, he's going to give you exactly what you're looking for out of the position and be very, very consistent at what he does when he's in those conditions. Because your intent here is to have 2 or 3 guys out every single play on that defensive front, creating that rotation keeps their legs under them. And what we noticed last year, I understand you did not have the quarterback, but teams would just grind it out. The teams knew that they did not have to run up the score because you weren't going to run up the score. So all they really had to do was get a small lead and maintain it. And that would create a discrepancy that made the defense go into attack mode more frequently. And that gasses them, okay? It's very, very tiring to play an attacking style of defense. So without the rotational depth, man, you just lose your legs, and at the end of the game, people are just beating you up. And it's not because you don't have talent, it's because you're just gassed. So, yeah, I think personally, address the quarterback, use all that damn money like you didn't last off season, create rotational depth on the defensive line, maintain your identity. Okay, you already know who you are as a team. You just need to upgrade the most important position and get ready for a damn playoff run. Because if you can upgrade from Brissett, you're going to the playoffs. All right? Tennessee doesn't have a stranglehold on this division. Okay? It was a very hotly contested division. Houston doesn't have a stranglehold on this division. They've got weaknesses that the Colts can take advantage of. One off season, all it takes with the kind of money you have available. So now it's time to watch them go out there and do it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check out the other ones I have. I'm doing one of these for every single team. And like and subscribe if you enjoy the content, fellas. Hit me up in the comments with what you think your Colts should be doing this offseason. I know the Combine's coming up next week, so if you got a particular player that you think they should go after in the draft, I want to know. I'm doing my pre-draft videos in between free agency and the draft just to keep some sort of logical order to these things. So keep an eye out for those mock drafts and post-free agency videos coming soon.